Welcome back, everyone. Hope everybody's had a good start to the week here. Really excited today to bring Herb Austin back from SBA. He's the district director for the DFW area for the SBA. So I know we've had tons of questions about that with the new PPP program coming out. And Herb will tell you there's been some changes. We had Herb here 2 weeks ago. He was the first person we had on here, and I'm sure Herb's world has changed 100% since that time. We were just talking about that. So with that, Herb, I'll turn it over to you and let you present the info that you have, and then as we get questions presented to us, then we'll do that. But you go right ahead and give us a story.
Thank you so very much, Chris, for inviting us again. That's nice of you. To the small businesses that are on the call and that have been affected, my heart goes out to you. But we do think that we have two loan programs that may help you to some extent get back on your feet. I would like to discuss the two programs between about 5-10 minutes. The first program is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, known as EIDL loan. So this is a loan that is really managed by the government, in that the money that you will be getting will come directly from the Treasury, because the other program is a loan bank. I want you to know the difference at the outset. So I'll give you the facts and information on the EIDL program. The program allows small businesses with 500 employees or less, not for-profit organizations, some of them are ineligible, can apply for up to $2 million, and the interest rate on that loan is 3.75% for businesses and 2.75% for not-for-profit organizations. The repayment terms are 30 years, up to 30 years to repay that debt. There is a 1-year deferment. So when you get that money, you have one year to start repaying it. And the application process is simple. When they started the program about a month and so ago, it was a lot of information was required along with the application. That has been reduced. There is a streamlined application that one goes to our website, and you will find COVID-19 Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's, I believe it's a 1-page or 2 document that you fill out. And once you complete that application, one thing that has been added, and you don't want to miss it, is there is a question. I want to consider an advance loan of $10,000. So under that question, there are only 3 questions that has to do with your account number, your bank, and another question. So once you apply, you submit the application, it goes to the SBA office disaster. And one has to be a little bit patient in that, I hate to say that there are 30 million small businesses in the United States, and probably a good portion, let's say 80%, will be applying. So you can imagine how many applications come in the system every minute. So people are impatient. People would call this office and say, I put in an application 2 weeks ago. What's going on? Give me a status. And unfortunately, they can't even get that anyway. So which causes another issue, because we don't have access to the system. And I will give you a number later that you can call to try to get that information. So that $10,000 is interesting, because as your application gets in the hand of a person, a human being, is no longer in the computer system, they will cut you a check of $10,000 that you do not have to repay. It will be forgiven. Think of it as a grant. Now someone gets a chance to look at your application to make a decision as to whether it will be denied or approved. If it's denied, you still can keep your $10,000. You don't have to return it. If you are approved, because the underwriter will have made the decision for you as to how much money you should be getting, so the $10,000 will be reduced to the total amount of the loan. And I hope I get some interesting questions on that. Again, the application is directly from the SBA and the money directly from the treasurer. So the second program is called the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. Different program, you know, it's a loan from the bank, not from the SBA. The SBA, we provide 100% guarantee on that loan, but we don't touch the papers. So you go to your bank of account, you apply. In a minute, I will tell you what the experience has been from what I'm hearing. So the program provides for $10 million, up to $10 million for small businesses with 500 employees or less, or business who meet the SBA size standard requirements, and for not-for-profit organizations. The terms are 2 years. The interest rate is 1%, was 0.5%, went up to 1%. The deferment is 6 months to repay that debt. Now, ideally, you can apply for both programs. So what I've been saying to folks, last Friday, the lending community has started to receive application for this program. On our website or the Treasury website, there is a sample application. So if you go to the treasury.gov, you will see an application for the borrower, but it's an SBA sample. If you call your banker, most likely they will say, I want you to fill out our own application, but the questions could very well be the same. So the program is actually perfect for a company that has payroll, that has employees, because that's the key. As you apply for this program, they are looking at a company that has employees who may have to let them go, but they want them to bring these employees back to work. So most of these loans, most of the proceeds will be considered a grant, will be forgiven. There is a formula that we can discuss, and I'm sure that question will come up. So ideally, they're looking at your average payroll for the last year. So they will take a look at your 12 years payroll for 2019 and give them an average. So you come up with an average and you multiply this average by 2.5. And that's how it's determined how much money you should be getting. And it is on the application. Whatever the amount is times 2.5 is the amount that you're applying for. That amount, at a minimum, 75% of it will be forgiven because they assume that it's payroll they're looking at. Now the question that comes up, what can you include it in that payroll? Well, it goes beyond just the payroll itself, because a lot of companies participate in the retirement for their employees. So you make a contribution to that. A lot of companies pay for health insurance. So that's all part of that payroll. So you understand what number to put in. And the repayment, as I said, is 2 years only, because they feel that most of those monies will be toward payroll and will be, again, forgiven, so that finally the amount of the loan that has to be repaid could be so negligible and small. That's why they have brought the terms from 7 to 10 years to only 2 years. Yes, you can apply for both programs, as long as the use of the proceed is for different things. Perfect example, for the PPP, you apply strictly for the for the payroll only, sorry. And for the rest, you apply for other costs associated with operating the business. When coronavirus started, suddenly your business went down, you cannot pay your rent, your mortgage, your electricity bill, and that sort of expenses. That would be my recommendation if I was to tell someone which way to go. I would apply for both programs. And by the way, the PPP, Treasury has asked the lenders to make a decision on a loan package in 1 day. So that'd be to your advantage to have money in your hands in 1 day. If that truly can happen, that you have a bank, for example, I know that Bank of America, as of Saturday, they had already received 101,000 applications. To assume that they can process them, underwrite them in 1 day is beyond my understanding, but it may be possible. So those are the quirks of the program. And for the other things that one needs to know, the question always come up, is collateral required. Well, under the PPP program, no collateral required, no personal guarantees required. Under the IDL, economic injury disaster, for any loans of up to 200,000 or more, collaterals is required if available, meaning if you do have it, you have to pledge it, but you will never be turned down for lack of it. So this is basically, the story, and I'm sure people have a lot of questions for me. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Well, thank you for that update. Really appreciate that. And like we were talking about earlier, I know that this is just changing for you daily, and we just had that conversation. And so, we'll have, as more information comes available, we'll continue to bring you on. So one of the questions we had here, and I don't know if we're mixing programs, but you're the person who would know. So the employee retention credit that's in the CARES Act, if you apply for the economic injury, the disaster loan, can you still take advantage of those credits?
That's correct. And so what I'm recommending, Chris, is that one applies to the extent that they want. It's a business decision to some extent to apply for both programs. The one that allows you to retain employees and continue to employ them for 8 weeks. That's all they're asking you, to apply for 8 weeks after you get your check, to retain them for that period of time. It's the PPP that provides that. Retention one is the same as the PPP. So if you have employee, you're in a better place by applying for the PPP for the payroll purposes and for any other course with the IDL program that provides a much longer term. If you are a sole proprietorship, and most of small businesses are, well, you're probably better off applying for IDL loan, because the forgiveness piece on the other side, given that you have no employees, will be negligible.
So I want to go back to process for a second, just to make sure that we're all under the understanding of how you access either of these. The recommendation you'd given before, and I think it's still the recommendation, is go to your existing lender right now and work through them first, correct?
And correct, and that's your best solution. I will tell you the issue, so we can share that also with the folks. I found out that on Friday afternoon, I found out from clients that Bank of America was not accepting application from anyone unless you had a credit relationship with them. What they meant is, unless you already have a loan with me, or you have my credit card, I cannot help you. And a lot of banks are feeling that way. That's what they were doing, really picking and choosing their best clients and best customers. It was evident that a lot of small businesses who don't have great account with bank were having a hard time. So my recommendation is you go to your bank, hopefully where you have a credit account. Many customers, one client was calling all the Congress people last Friday. She had a 17 years relationship with Bank of America, but the relationship was a deposit relationship. Every month, she claimed to have deposited $100,000 a month over the years. And that money was being used to lend to other people. And now that she needed that financing so desperately to keep her doors open, Bank of America told her, no, you don't have a credit relationship with me. But that same person got a call on Saturday afternoon after Bank of America had decided, okay, I have all my best customers, 100,000 of them. Now I'm going to see people who have a deposit relationship. So that lady got a call, so she was very happy. So I think it's going to be the same at every bank for every client. Unless there is an existing relationship, credit relationship, they may ask you, well, to hold on and come back. By the time you come back, I'm hearing from other clients saying, by the time I come back, they say they have exhausted all their funds, especially the smaller banks. So my recommendation, go to your bank tomorrow. There is an application on the SBA website. If you go to www.treasury.gov, you will see application for the borrower. Fill it out, approach your bank tomorrow morning, submit that application, give them a call first, because they're taking application online, most of them. Give them a call and see whether there is an appetite or interest in helping you. If you don't have a bank, there is no relationship, neither credit or deposit, I think you're in trouble. And I would hate to believe that there are business owners who do not have a bank relationship.
Well, and we can certainly, if there are those business owners out there that don't have that relationship, we can certainly facilitate something like that. And to your point, I think that, some of the reason, the banks are just overwhelmed with these applications. I know that a couple of our members who are banks have just telling us there's just a tremendous number of applications that they're fielding and calls that they're fielding. So, we certainly have a lot of relationships out there. And if anybody finds himself in that position where they don't have somebody to call, please reach out to us, so we can connect you with somebody. So another question here, read about the PPP application specifically for sole proprietorships to be released by the SBA on Friday. So is there a separate application coming out this Friday that deals specifically with those sole proprietorships?
And tell me, Chris, are they referring to this Friday or last Friday?
I believe they're referring to this Friday.
This Friday?
That there will be something separate for those sole proprietorships.
I haven't heard that unless somebody's reading it on the Treasury. The Treasury website is the most current. I haven't seen anything from headquarters to that effect. I've not seen anything on our SBA website to that effect.
Okay. And I wanted to get back to process just for a second so that everybody understands what you're working on, because we had this conversation before we came on air, is you're getting those applications and you're processing those applications, but then those applications go to main office or going someplace else. And so, reaching out to you to try to figure out where they are in the process, that's not the way to go. They need to reach out to, that's something they, can call the hotline, or who do they reach out to get that information after it's already been submitted? I mean, ideally, your bank will be on top of that, but in those extreme circumstances, who should they reach out to?
And again, Chris, we have to refer to two separate programs. The IDL program, which is a government program, our office has a number where they have 2,000 to 3,000 people taking calls. So if you want to know the status of your application, you think there was a mistake and you want to pull it back, the number is 800-659-2955. 800-659-2955 is the customer service center, 7 days a week. I dare to say 24 hours. Now, this is for the IDL. For the other program, We have nothing to do with it. We provide 100% guarantee without touching papers. So the applicant must work exclusively with the decision maker, namely the banker, their bank. So we don't get any information on that at all until the loan is closed, and the bank may share some information with us, but we don't participate in the process, the underwriting process, in that sort of thing.
Great. Good to know. Thank you. We've had a few more people join since you first started, and I wondered if you could go back and talk about that $10,000 again, because I think that's an important piece, and I want people who've joined us late to be able to hear that.
Sure. So what the SBA, I guess in its wisdom, decided initially the application didn't have that piece. And what they felt that with so many applications coming in, and it would take so much time to underwrite them and give you the money that you deserve. So they thought they would add in the application 3-liners, and it reads, I would like to be considered for a $10,000 loan advance. So that's the language. So you have to click in, and you have no reason not to. Once you do that, this is the first check that you will be receiving from the Treasury. So as a way of example, you fill out an application, you didn't make any decision on how much money you're going to be getting. The underwriter will make that decision for you. They get your application. Even before they look at it, they will get some information to Treasury to get you a check of $10,000. Now they look at the application, and you are denied for a loan. You keep your money. It's forgiven completely. Whether you are denied, whether you were ineligible, it is your money, that $10,000. That wasn't in the initial application. Now you may say, what happened if I had applied 3 weeks ago? Well, you would have gotten an email from SBA asking you to go back and fill out the new application, which is a streamlined application. So don't worry if you have 2 applications in it, the EIN number is the same, so it's not a problem. So that's the $10,000. But even more than the $10,000, you get a lot of money if you have employees under the PPP, because under the PPP, they want you to retain employees or bring back employees that you might have let go. So they give you a bunch of money based on payroll. So that's why you have to go back 12 months and look at the average payroll expenses, including retirement and a bunch of other stuff. You multiply it by 2.5, and you come up with a number, and let's say that number is 400,000. Don't be surprised if close to that 400,000 will be forgiven. You don't have to repay that debt.
Great. Well, thank you for that. Like I said, we had a few more people join. I think that's just an important thing for people to understand, that is out there and available. So I don't see any other questions right now. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of wrap up here. And then, of course, any questions that we get, then we will forward those on to you and your team so that you can get those questions answered for those
respond
folks.
to you. Of course, Chris.
Great. Well, thank you so much again.
It's a pleasure.
Taking the time. Oh, wait, we have one more question come in. Okay, hold on one second. And this is actually from a text message. So already applied last week, have not heard anything from the SBA. So again, disaster loan, that phone number that you gave, if it's PPP, they should be talking with their bank, correct?
Correct, Chris, correct. And those are the questions that are coming up now. I have applied. We're no longer getting that many auto apply, but we're getting, my God, I have applied and I'm not hearing anything, and which is very weird. I feel uncomfortable having to tell the client, well, I'm sorry, we're no longer involved in the process, but call this number. Well, one of them told me this morning, I called this number, they tell me the system is down. And very much like at one point, the application was down as well, that site. So yeah, so hopefully it's down for a reason from what I heard. they want to be able to, I don't know, identify these applications as they come in so they can give the right answer to the applicants.
Great. All right, perfect. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
Thank
Like
you.
I said,
Thank you so
any
much.
questions that we didn't see or didn't get to, we'll respond back to you as soon as we can, with that information. Herb, always a pleasure to have you on. For those listening out there, reach out to us. Let us help you get connected to those folks. If you need a bank, we can certainly help you out with that. But want to supply the resources we can to the business community. So Herb, thank you very much again.
Thank
and
you.
We'll be talking to you
Good
soon.
afternoon. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.